What is up, my friends? It is Thursday night. You are very welcome along to what is going to be an absolutely jam-packed show. We have breaking news that Liverpool are set to put in a major offer for Mark Guehi of Crystal Palace. That just dropped as I was preparing, hence the reason I'm a couple of minutes late. So we'll talk about that. Jarell Quansah closing in on a move to Leverkusen. I did tell you he was available for sale this summer despite reports saying contrary. Your boy here had you covered. We're going to talk about my beef with Mighty Red, which has taken a little bit of a weird turn this evening. We'll talk about Isak. We'll talk about Wirtz, who of course has landed and has started the process of becoming a Liverpool player. So much to get through. But as always, most importantly, thank you for being here with me. Appreciate your support as always, and I hope that life's treating you well. So look, let's get stuck into it, because as I mentioned in the video earlier on today, wow, stuff moves quickly and I'm glad to see it. So where do we want to start, by the way, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I think we could start off with the obvious one, which is Florian Wirtz. I'm sure that you've seen Liverpool sent the jet, quite a nice jet as well, might I say. Florian landed in Manchester, where I believe they have a private terminal there, if I'm not mistaken. Haven't got to that stage of life where I'm going in there now, a private plane terminal, so not really my area of expertise. So yeah, he's arrived. We have yet to see him, well, we've yet to see him really do anything, but we do know that there's thoughts that the early part of the medical could take place this evening, with the majority and the main stuff happening tomorrow, with hopefully an announcement of Florian Friday by the close of play tomorrow evening. So we're looking for that one. We're excited about it. But the main news today really has been around the situation with the centre-backs. Jarell Quansah looks like he's got personal terms close to agreed with Leverkusen. The fee that will be up to about €40 million, we believe. What's this new one coming in? So there'd be no formal offer yet for Mark Guehi, but it looks like Liverpool are in the best position to do a deal from among those who want to sign him. He will be sold by Palace this summer with just under a single year left and no prospect of a renewal with his Crystal Palace deal, writes Chris Bascom. And as I mentioned, just as we were starting to go live, and hence the reason I was a minute or two delayed, breaking from Chris Bascom, Liverpool expected to make a significant offer for Crystal Palace defender Mark Guehi, having moved swiftly to raise funds with the sale of Jarell Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen. Now, obviously, the first question we're all going to have is this going to be 1, 2 or 3 centre-backs that we see brought in this summer? If Quansah's going to move over to Bayer Leverkusen, obviously Mark Guehi coming in, that's 1 in, 1 out, no problem there. But we still don't know the situation with Konate. We don't know what Joe Gomez's future is going to be. So I wonder, is there more centre-back business to come for the Reds this summer? Carl, how are we, dude? Said, a glorious Friday approaches, my friends. Yes, it is going to be an epic day, my man. I'm obviously selfishly praying that it all gets sorted out tomorrow, Carl, because I'm not around for the weekend. So, yeah, for me, I'm fingers crossed I get to break that news tomorrow night when it eventually happens. Florian Friday buzzing, said Sean Lester as well. And thank you, by the way, Carl. Member with us for 10 months, bro. Appreciate that. Right, let's drop into the chat and see how everybody's feeling. And then we'll get stuck into some more news. Right, what have we got? Kean Core said, I feel like we'll get 2 centre-backs in this window. I'd be happy with Guehi and Collins, to be fair. Kean, I'd be over the moon with those 2. Now, I have to say, it is a bit of a surprise for me that Liverpool are revisiting the Mark Guehi situation. When we'd spoken about this last year, even when I spoke with David Lynch about it, we were both of a similar mindset that Liverpool had some doubts around it. But obviously, 1 year down the line, contract situation, hence the price will have changed for Mark Guehi, and Liverpool could be just revisiting this and thinking, you know what, it makes sense, it's a good move. So I'm all for it if the club want to do it. We know he's Premier League tried and tested. Yes, he's only 6 foot, which makes him a little bit smaller than some of the towering centre-backs that we're used to, but a very good player. And again, homegrown, which helps a lot. Like we've mentioned, we do need to keep an eye on that scenario this summer. Ian, how are we, mate? Welcome in. Collins is better than Guehi. I would prefer Nathan Collins, mate, but I'm not saying that both aren't possible. I've always been honest with you and said I don't know the exact state of play for the centre-back situation and the centre-forward situation. But I did tell you, did I not, that Jarell Quansah was going to be available for sale this summer. Other reports out there suggested that Liverpool weren't going to listen to offers, but I told you my information was that the manager hasn't been convinced by Jarrell over the course of the season, and if the right offer came in, the Reds would do business, and the right offer seems like it's coming in, and the Reds are going to do business. Right, Craig, do you think Isak happens if Napoli take Darwin? I really don't know. Look, but all I can say to you on Isak is every day I come on and every day there's another story and they're getting higher up the chain, if you want to get me. Like, so we're starting off with some rough stories from hit and go sources or hit and miss sources. Then we're moving up the tiers and more serious journalists are starting to speak about the situation. I'm still not at a point where I'm willing to commit mentally to the deal because I don't want to start thinking about it and then it doesn't happen. But we can't rule it out. We absolutely cannot rule it out at this point. We'll just have to wait and see on it. I really don't know. But even if it was Ekitike and the club wanted to go for him, if Isak isn't available, if you brought in the centre backs we're talking about, the full backs we're talking about, Wirtz, I mean, wow, what a window this is shaping up to be. Truly historic. Fabrizio gave an update on Liverpool and Ekitike. The only update really is that he's waiting around to see what offers are on the table. There was talk, and I think this may be what you're speaking about, that perhaps the price for Ekitike was finally maybe a little bit negotiable. I'm trying to look through all of my notes here because you're right, I did read something on that. I just have so many notes to go through today. Yeah, there was talk that maybe they'd come down about £10 million on Hugo Ekitike if somebody came forward with an offer. But we do know Ekitike has heard from Manchester United. He's heard from Chelsea. I can't tell you whether Arsenal have been in contact or not. I don't know. But Liverpool seem to be the club he's waiting for. And I don't know what way Liverpool are going to go. Obviously, we're not going to be able to drag this one out all through the summer, especially if Darwin moves. But yeah, look, it will be a top quality striker. That's all we can say. Right, let's get to this one. Well played by the Mighty Red lad on Twitter, said Haris. Yes, I have to say, full credit to Mighty Red. If you haven't seen it, by the way, Mighty Red, I thought you had no attitude, but I may have been wrong here. Mighty Red showing he's got that little bit of banter in him, so well played, sir. Well played. If I had a hat, I'd tip it to you, sir. But look, if you don't know what we're talking about, obviously, whoever runs the Mighty Red account had seen my little debate about Mighty Red being like the broccoli of mascots and posted a picture of Mighty Red with a broccoli head. I mean, well played, sir. Well played. Deutscher Copbite said, watched Anfield Index earlier. They are stating that Isak has informed Newcastle that he wants a Liverpool move. Thoughts on this, Craig? Well, firstly, nothing but love for my friends at Anfield Index. Secondly, yeah, kind of tallies with a few things that we've been hearing. I don't have anything on this, so I'm not going to be the one to break it for you. But certainly what Anfield Index have mentioned there, I can't argue with because it's something that I've seen brought up that, you know, we went back a few weeks ago and we said that when Florian Wirtz had told told the club's interest that it was only Liverpool, we talked about this situation where Isak is apparently sort of making the same noises. So, you know, it's all going to come down to Newcastle ultimately and if they're willing to sell. And if they are, maybe Isak needs to make it very clear that he wants to move. But again, you know, there's a lot of moving pieces in it. That's all I can say to you. It's crazy. But yeah, I've heard similar to what, as you mentioned, the lads at Anfield Index were talking about. Wirtz is in town. Yes, he is. Sky Sports Germany are waiting outside the AXA for Wirtz. Nice. We like that. Look, we want to see those images. We want to see Florian doing part of the medical. We want to see him. Well, we just want to see him, don't we? Let's be honest. We've seen the jet landing, and might I say, not too shabby of a jet. Adrian George said, why are people worried about the cost of Isak? Not my money, I don't care. He comes in, goals, wins us the Premier League and Champions League, makes the money back in prize money. Hey, mate, I'm not going to complain. You know, I've wanted this type of business from Liverpool. I've wanted the club to step up and show that we mean business, and they're doing it, so I won't be complaining. If Liverpool get Alexander Isak in, brilliant. If Liverpool get Hugo Ekitike in, I'll be right behind him as well. Right, PC Drat, always a pleasure, my friend. 28 months as a member, by the way, bro. Thank you. Hope you're well. Minimum of 2 centre-backs required. Well, let's ask that. Let's ask that to the good folks of the chat. Bear with me. And by the way, you magnificent people, how are we all this evening? Love to you all. I hope you're well. How could you not be? Sun's shining. The Reds are active in the transfer market. Won the Premier League. Not too shabby at the minute. I have a bit of an exclusive from the Anfield Agenda side of things for you in one moment as well. Always lovely to see you guys in though, and thank you for the great vibes in the chat again. Really do appreciate the kindness and support that you guys are showing. You're the best at it. That's what I keep saying. Best community on the internet. Right, let's get cracking with this one. Bear with me because we know I can't type and talk, so just give me a couple of seconds on this one, folks. Okay, so right, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm going to say is, how many centre-backs do we need if Kwanzaa goes? Now, it's looking like Kwanzaa's going. So if we take Kwanzaa's sale, how many centre-backs do you think Liverpool Football Club need in this window? For what it's worth, I'd be in the 2 camp. I think 2. And that's without another sale, by the way. I've always said we haven't replaced John Matip in my eyes. So I'd like to see 2. Maybe if Konate stays, no problem, would have been a younger centre-back that comes in. So you'll have Mark Guehi, Konate, Virgil. Wouldn't say no to another young centre-back as well. And then if Gomez leaves, of course, we have to fill, well, the void left by his, what's the word I'm looking for? Versatility. Kwanzaa was good when the Klopp just lost his way. It's not unusual. You know, I can't say why Jarell Kwanzaa has regressed. Is that fair? Over the last season? Certainly hasn't kicked on. I think that's the fairest way to put it. Corbin said John must have found his previous 3 wallets. I don't know what's going on, mate. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with the spending, but my gut feeling about them sensing an opportunity with Manchester City maybe not being the dominant force that they were, I can only feel that this is playing into the situation now where they're thinking now's the time to invest, now's the time to make Liverpool dominant, and hey, I'm grateful for it. Have I missed? Oh, I don't want to make sure I missed another one. Danny LaRue. Appreciate you as always, Danny. Hope you're well. Nice to see you in, my friend, and thank you for your 10 months with us as a member. Luke said, seeing all the Arsenal fans cacking their pants at the thought of us signing Isak is worth the rumours alone. I was just laughing a little bit in the Discord about Manchester United situation. So they've gone from Ekitike to Gyökeres to now some fella from the Belgian league. You know, it's a weird one. But yeah, look, they're going to try and do what they always do, opposition fans. They'll undermine all of our business. They'll try to say we've overpaid. They'll try to say this, that and the other. But you know the truth is that they're worried. And they've every right to be worried. If I wasn't a Liverpool fan, I'd be pretty goddamn worried right now. Our rival fans' current meltdowns excuses are perfect, said Cal. It's glorious, sir. It's glorious, and long may it continue. Newcastle sell Isak, it sorts their PSR problem. I don't know if they have a PSR issue anymore, Shane. They made a few sales in the last one. I don't know the current state of play for them with PSR, but it would certainly give them some spending power in the market. So if they win the race for João Pedro, as an example, and they got him for, I don't know what the number is, but let's say 60 million, and we were to go out there and give them X amount for Isak, that could probably buy them 2 or 3 quality players. And I remember something from one of their executives, I think it was last year, saying sometimes in football, and they use Liverpool as an example, you have to take 1 step back, like we did when we sold Coutinho, to take those 2 steps forward, which of course we did with Alisson Becker and Virgil van Dijk. So, you know, let's wait and see. Anthony Gordon, by the way, keep an eye on this situation as well, because there's talk that if Chiesa goes, and maybe even if Jota goes, he could be the one to be looked at. And I'll explain that situation a little bit more in a few minutes. Right, where are we at? I have so many chats to catch up on. This one from S4T. With all these new potential signings, you reckon Linda has gained control of John W. Henry's credit card? Honestly, I think what we guessed is probably not too far off. So I've said this to you guys many times, but I remember reading a story from a Red Sox fan account talking about the fact that FSG don't feel that investing massively in the Red Sox playing squad at the minute is the smart play when the Dodgers look to be so dominant. Now, again, I don't understand Major League Baseball, but they also spoke about FSG being willing to spend on infrastructure products infrastructure projects in and around Fenway. And it kind of got me thinking, that's kind of what they did with Liverpool. Came in, stadium, AXA, more stadium work, new club shop. And now that Manchester City aren't the Manchester City that they once were, and they are looking a little bit hit and miss, it just feels like they've sensed an opportunity to really strengthen. And of course, the fact that we've kept our powder dry in the transfer market over the last few windows has given us a bit more wiggle room. And all I can say is, as a fan, very grateful for it and very happy. Stephen McBride said, "Hello, Craig. Great to see FSG spending this transfer window, but I was wondering why FSG didn't back Klopp with a similar transfer budget." So again, Stephen, this is a subject that I've certainly been thinking about a lot over the last few weeks. Truth is, I can't give you a definitive answer. It could be, like I've mentioned, the kind of sensing that now is the time for Liverpool to kick on. It could have been a mixture of maybe Jurgen being relatively happy with what he had or not wanting to spend some of the sums and the way the transfer window was gone. I don't know, but I just know I'm happy and I'm grateful for it. So whatever it is, Stephen, yeah, I think it's going in the right direction for us. Where was I? There was something. Oh, I promised you one bit of Anfield Agenda exclusive news. So I booked it today. Our last ever show is going to be in Liverpool at the Hot Water Comedy Club, October the 19th, the weekend of the Manchester United game. That is it. After that, no more stage shows for me. We've got one in August here in Ireland in Cork. And then I've just booked that one in. Tickets are going to go on sale, I think, tomorrow for the show in Liverpool. And that's it then. No more. I've dropped the ticket price down to £15 to try and make it as accessible as I can to everybody. And we're going to have Steve and Chris and Jack there with us on the night as well. Cannot wait. Brian, LFC USA, is going to be there as well because he's coming in for the United game. So that is an all-ages event. It's my last ever stage show because, I'll be honest with you, I shit myself before I do them. Not quite literally, but honestly, I can't put myself through them anymore. This is the last one. I felt I owed it to Liverpool to come back for one more, and I booked it in today. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you come and show up, and I hope we have a fun night. But again, more on that in the future. Right, let's get cracking. So I've loads of news to get through, but of course I want to make sure that I catch everyone's chats as well. This one. Sam said, João Pedro on the verge of Newcastle move equals chance for Isak. Yep, absolutely. If they get João Pedro, it certainly increases the possibility of us getting Isak because they're not going to be left high and dry without a striker. So keep an eye on that situation, Sam, definitely. Nick said, do you think more about a centre-back as an individual talent or how they will be with Verge? It's a good question. You do want to form a pairing that works. You can't really think too long-term, though, with Verge because, of course, he probably has a couple of years and then he's off, whereas whoever comes in at the age of 24, like Guehi as an example, you're talking about somebody there who could have 8 to 10 years at the top level still. So I think it's a bit of both. You know, you want to make sure they've got the attributes to play in the system. And the one thing that we've always said was a concern about Mark Guehi was the lack of aerial dominance. I mean, I think Andy, one of the guys in our Discord group earlier on, posted in his aerial battles won versus his aerial battles lost, and it doesn't make for great reading, but still a very accomplished defender outside of that. So maybe the way we're going to set up now with not as much space being vacated from when you know who was there in the right side of the defence, maybe we feel like this one will be okay. I don't know. Again, the Nathan Collins situation, I'd definitely say keep an eye on that still as well. Lewis said, great week all around for me. I've been offered a new job and Wirtz is coming to Liverpool. What a week. Well, congratulations on the new job, bro. That's awesome. Really mean that sincerely. Yeah, delighted for you, bro. Good to hear. So I owe an apology. You know me, if I make a mistake, I put my hands up. So the gentleman yesterday that was speaking about the Where's the Money John hoodies. Do you remember that conversation where he said people want a refund and I took it up that he was being snarky? He emailed me last night. I took it up wrong. He was just making a joke. Obviously, like I've said, sometimes when you look at text, it's difficult to gauge what people are. But he was absolutely on the level. So from me, sincere apologies. We've unbanned the account. We've apologised via email to the gentleman, and he's back in the chat. So again, hands up for that one. That was on me. I misinterpreted the comment. Sean Taylor. Hi, Craig. We'd be unstoppable with Isak at centre back. Isak and the centre back. Sorry. Mate, I'm buzzing. Honestly, I can't believe it. I cannot believe that I'm sitting here about to see my football club smash the British transfer record to bring in Florian Wirtz, and we're still talking about a potential huge deal in the works. Even if it is Ekitike, it's still going to be a big, significant outlay. Ian Finney, there you are. And I apologise, Ian. That I knew your name was Ian, I just couldn't remember the surname. Ian, that was on me. Like I said in the message, sometimes when I only see text, it's really difficult to gauge what somebody means. But I was wrong, and I apologise, my man. And thank you for accepting it with the grace that you have. Cal Down said, anybody know how basketball works? The Lakers valued at 10 billion. I seen that earlier on. I don't get it. I don't know. I know the Lakers are a massive brand, obviously, but I don't know. 10 billion? That makes them the most expensive sports franchise in the history of sport, I believe. Right, what have we got? Anfield sector, right. No, that's a different one. This one. Sam Wallace of The Telegraph said Liverpool expected to make significant offer for Mark Guehi, whom Crystal Palace have to sell this summer. Spurs offered 55 million plus 50 million add-ons in January. Jarell Quansah departs to Bayer Leverkusen. Story with Chris Bascom. This one, Anfield sector posted, credit the boys there. At Paul Joyce on Isak, there was no real pressure on Newcastle to sell for PSR reasons. I think if that was to change, for whatever reason, Liverpool would make themselves in the conversations. So I think this is a case of Liverpool kind of just letting it be known out there that if Newcastle were a willing seller or Isak was willing to kick up a bit of fuss, that we'd be a buyer. And again, wow, just incredible. Where are we at? This one from Chris. Chris said, if we sell Quansah, that would be 65 million euro raised in sales. That's without potential sales of Elliot Nunez. I have a feeling Isak could happen. Well, we always said that our belief was that the Reds get these three deals sorted out. Wirtz, Frimpong, Kerkez. Then after that, we look towards some sales. And you've seen today, the Quansah story's moving fast with Leverkusen. So that would be a sale that would give Liverpool the ability to go out and bring in Mark Guehi as an example. Same with Darwin Nunez. When you see Darwin Nunez finally moved on, you'll see Liverpool start to at least show their hand a bit more in the market for a striker. Now, I want to talk about something that's been catching my eye lately, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So, I've seen a lot of posts from the likes of Dave O.C. Kopp and other what I would call fringe journalists that have always mentioned Diogo Jota in the list of potential players who could be sold this summer. And it kind of got me thinking. I wonder if we'll see a situation where Liverpool sell Darwin Nunez and bring in whomever. Let's say it's Ekitike or Isak. Then we sell Chiesa, which we know is going to happen. You know, he wants to go to Italy. He wants to play for Italy in the World Cup. So more on that in a while, by the way. So I'm wondering if we moved on Jota and we moved on Chiesa, will we just see Liverpool move for one player and the likes of an Anthony Gordon? And the reason I'm thinking that is we bring in a striker. We have Jadon Danns for the future. We know Diaz can play central. We know Salah could maybe play central. And we know we can play with a false nine if need so. I'm wondering if Chiesa gets moved out and Jota were to be sold as well, do Liverpool then think, well, we didn't utilise Chiesa last season, so we're not really losing a squad player there as much, and put that money towards Gordon? There's nothing to say, by the way, that the likes of Gakpo or Diaz couldn't shift across to the right to cover for the AFCON as an example, something like that. Or heaven forbid Anthony Gordon played out on the right-hand side. So keep an eye on that situation, because a lot of these fringe journalists, and I say fringe because they're not attached to a major publication. I'm not trying to disparage them in any way, shape or form. But it's just got me thinking. And a lot of this transfer window is reading between the lines and trying to figure out what's going on. And Jota's name just keeps coming up. Dan's injuries are concerning, Nor, absolutely. And this is an important season for him, which is why I think it's really pivotal that he gets a loan. So we can see, like Stefan did, it's not really about proving that you're good enough, because Liverpool have the belief in Jadon Danns. It's about proving that his body can withstand the rigours of playing games maybe twice a week. Can't see Newcastle selling Isak and Gordon. Fans will be angry. But it's what they do with the money. So look at the Gordon situation in its own. So let's push Isak to the side just for a second. Look at how last season ended for Newcastle. They were relying a lot on Harvey Barnes, who'd come into very good form at the end of the season. So if Newcastle think that maybe Harvey Barnes is going to be that guy, then losing Anthony Gordon probably isn't as much of a headache for them, especially because they'll be able to reinvest the money back in. So if we gave them, and I'm throwing a rough number out here, oh God, it sounds weird to say this out loud, but let's say 200 million quid for Isak and Gordon. That could do a lot for Newcastle. If you got João Pedro in at Newcastle at like 50, 60 million, that gives them the ability to go out there and really strengthen in other areas to push them on. So again, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it isn't impossible for these things to happen, especially with that progression of Harvey Barnes at the end of last season. It's mental though. Like, it's mental that I'm sitting here saying, oh yeah, this could happen. Another 200 million could happen. It's crazy, but in a good way. This one, Jaden, how are you, sir? Said, are you saying replacing Collins for Konate or adding him to the squad? Because Collins can't lace Ibu's boots, in my opinion. Lace Ibu's boots, excuse me. So what I'm saying would be, the Kwanzaa situation is going to be reflected with Mark A. Let's just look at it that way. So that would be 1 in, 1 out. I would say keep an eye on Nathan Collins as an option if we can't get a deal agreed with Konate, because, you know, there was reports that those talks have broken down. There's reports that Liverpool are willing to take about 50 million for Konate and that they would sell him this summer if they can't agree a breakthrough. So whether we disagree on whether Nathan Collins is good enough or not, he is the one being spoken about most likely as that replacement if we lost Konate. I like the idea of it. You know, I think Nathan Collins is underrated. You say he's not fit to lace Konate's boots. I disagree. I think he's underrated. I think if his name was a foreign name, people would be far more excited about it. But look back through his time. He's been a leader everywhere he's been. Still only 24. I think it could be good business. And it will be another homegrown player through the door as well. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about Nathan Collins. It would be if Konate can agree a deal. Now look, cards on the table. I want Konate to stay. I want Ibrahima Konate to agree a deal with Liverpool and stay at the football club. But, you know, I don't know what the future holds in that regard. I don't know what's going on with Konate in Liverpool. I haven't got the inside scoop on it. S4T said Guehi and Hado would be great to bring in, but we can't tie Konate down to a new deal, then maybe Collins as well. Then I'd feel comfortable at the back. Yeah, the Joe Gomez one is the one that worries me mostly. Because, right, let's say this deal happens the next 24 hours. Mark A comes in and Kwanzaa goes out. That's fairly self-explanatory. But let's say Gomez then leaves and Konate doesn't tie a new deal or tie himself down to a new deal. Then, yeah, what you're saying there, the likes of a Jarell Hado, a versatile defender, maybe even a Geertruida, somebody of that ilk, Liverpool will have to have plans for every eventuality. And I've been on here quite a bit saying that centre-back's always been my key area of concern for this window, because there's so much uncertainty around a few of our centre-backs. And Gomez, 1, Kwanzaa, 2, and we don't know about Konate. So that's not even us being, you know, hyperbolic here. That's just us talking about facts as they are. Luke McMahon said, Craig, my man, how are you? I'm good, man, good. It's annoying. Other fans are saying we're buying our way to the league, but we always stayed in the PSR rule. Salty rivals. Again, I mean this respectfully, but fuck them. All of them, bro. All of them. This is the way I look at it. These people have no interest in us doing well, regardless of what happens, because they're not Liverpool fans. So, of course, they're going to try and undermine everything that we do. That's always the way. But what we can do is laugh at them, because we know We're not being run by a sovereign state or a sugar daddy. We're going to do this because we've had to suffer through 2 windows of doing nothing, and now the money's there and they're spending it. So each and every one of those salty ass opposition fans can do one, because again, Manchester City have been doing it for a long time to get themselves where they are, and I don't remember all the fume about that. But as soon as Liverpool start to spend their own money, heads start to fall off. Let them happen. Leave them. Who cares? Nothing they can do about it. No rules being broken. Liverpool spending within our own means. And yeah. And also, another TV deal was agreed. beIN Sport agreed a 3-year extension of the Premier League rights, well, a 10% increase to, I think it was $558 million, something like that, for 3 more seasons of Premier League rights to be shown in the regions that beIN Sport operate in. So again, that's more clarity for Premier League clubs moving forward, that's moved on another gear and more money into the bank. And again, I don't remember all these opposition fans coming in when we weren't getting any players in the windows feeling sympathy for us. I don't remember them going, oh, poor Liverpool fans, no trainings in the window, nothing happening for 2 windows. No, so their fume, well, they can keep it. Messi just doing Messi things. What did he do? What did Messi just do? I had the first half of that, keeping an eye on it. It was 1-0 after a penalty to Porto. Right, where are we at? Stargirl. Since I've been away a lot, has happened. Yes, it certainly has, my friend. I hope you're well. I am, and love to you and your dad as well. Spring, summer 2025 could end up being one of my favourite years. Title and new players. Yeah. I scored a free kick. Nice. Messi doing Messi things. Good man, Messi. I definitely didn't have money on him to score today. Definitely didn't. Dara said, leave insert done tomorrow, Craig. Superb content. Well, I know that pain, Dara, and I hope it went well for you, bro, and I hope you're going to celebrate, rightly so, when it's over. Well done. Wishing you the very best, mate, and do let me know when the results come out how you get on. Right, let's get back into the chat over here and catch up a little bit. The way this window's going, Edwards and Richards 4D chess, but no one's even on the same board as them. I agree, Jay Cliff. Spot on, bro. Spot on. Richard Groom said, if we are stats driven, Guehi should be nowhere near this club. Very poor in aerial duels and also slow. No thanks. So, again, we are stats driven. I absolutely agree with what you've said about the lack of aerial prowess. We've always spoken about that when we've talked about Mark Guehi, but I look at it this way. Is Mark Guehi better than Jarell Quansah? And the answer in my head is yes. That's the way I look at it. He's not coming in as a Konate replacement. He's coming in as a Quansah replacement. And yes, Quansah's younger, but to me, that's an upgrade. You know, Mark Guehi over Jarell Quansah, I think that's an upgrade personally. Crimson Heart, was it your birthday? Happy birthday, my friend. Much love to you. Right, let's have a look at the centre-back poll, and then I'll come back to the super chats that I've missed. Right, so how many centre-backs do we need if Jarell Quansah goes? It's pretty much a landslide here, so I think I can end the vote. 74% of you guys and girls said that 2 centre-backs is the number required if we lose if we lose Jarell Quansah, which it looks like we're going to. Where are we at? Sheriff Torchwood. I've sent you a gift membership. Love watching Anfield Agenda. Do not get stage fright. Pretend that you're the only person there. Well, thank you, as always, my friend, for your support and for your positive outlook with what you're going through. Stage shows scare the shit out of me, honestly. And I'm not just talking about on the day. Like, if I'm doing a show in a month, that whole month I'm spent losing sleep building up to the show. They've always gone okay and people have always been lovely, but it's way out of my realms of comfort. And I wanted to prove that I could do it to myself. If I do these 2, this will be 7 that we've done, and I think that's enough. Then I can knock it on the head. But I felt like I owed Liverpool, so I wanted to go back and have the last show in Liverpool, and that's what we're doing. Cork, obviously, August. Right, I'm an NBA fan. NBA franchise values are primarily driven by the media rights deals, sponsorship revenue, and on-court success. That's how Lakers are worth $10 billion. Well, there's no denying everybody knows who the Lakers are. You know, whether you like basketball or not, you know, they're one of the success stories of franchises or of sports teams. You know, the Yankees as well will be another one. But yeah, I get it, but it's still a lot of money, isn't it? 10 billion. Went to the Belfast show. Great show, said Jared. Thank you, my man. Appreciate that. This one, we're going to have a musical act at. We're going to have Chris and Steve. You won't have Connor for this show because it's just going to be me coming over for the Liverpool one because I'll be there for the United game that weekend. But yeah, tickets go on sale tomorrow. I've lowered the price and we are booked in at one capacity. We can't change it. So there'll be 240 tickets available. They'll go on sale tomorrow, I believe, at £15. It's an all ages event and there is no more. If they go, they go. We can't go into a bigger theatre. That'll be it. So, yeah, we've got Cork, as I mentioned, this show coming up 8th of August. It's an over 18s event, this one. So if you want to come, you can get your tickets with the QR code. Right, let's keep going. Mohammed said, "Hi Craig, remember the days of Joe Allen, Stuart Downing, Andy Carroll, etc. We deserve this window." Yes, we bloody do. Absolutely, mate. Kaylin, thank you, my friend. Right, let's get through some of this news because I know you're coming in not to hear me talk about me, but let's get in some of this news. So, let's start off with the Mark A situation and where this one started to come from. So, Paul Joyce was quoted as saying, "Liverpool hold an interest in Mark A as Leverkusen step up their pursuit of Jarell Quansah." Next up was Chris Bascom, who said, "Bayer Leverkusen are ready to test Liverpool's resolve to keep Jarell Quansah, with the Bundesliga side considering a formal bid. Liverpool are not proactively seeking to sell Quansah, but an offer in the region of about 40 million could tempt them." Next up was Sky Sports, who said, "Leverkusen in advanced negotiations to sign Jarell Quansah, agreement close." Then we had David Ornstein, who said Bayer Leverkusen close to agreement with Liverpool to sign Jarell Quansah. No formal bid from Liverpool yet, but talks progressing towards deal being done for just north of €40 million, which is about £32 million there or thereabouts, I think. Personal terms for the 22-year-old defender, no issue. Then we had Florian Plettenberg say full agreement has been reached between Bayer Leverkusen and Quansah. Leverkusen and Liverpool already in advanced negotiations. Details to be clarified. The 22-year-old centre-back has been the top target for Liverpool, as exclusively revealed. Then I mentioned this story to you. Liverpool are due to benefit from beIN Sports Media Group announcing the extension to their Premier League rights. They've extended them at approximately £550 million, 10% more than previously, to broadcast 380 matches in Arabic and English across the Middle East and North Africa starting next season. So again, more money in the coffers for Premier League clubs. Then we had Alex Crook say, "Liverpool are huge fans of Alexander Isak. I think this will be a difficult deal to do, but it might get easier if Newcastle win the race for João Pedro." Ben Jacobs then said, "Liverpool and Leverkusen are finalising a package of just north of €40 million, £34 million for Jarell Quansah, including add-ons. Verbal agreement not quite done, but heading in that direction." Chris Bascom said, breaking, Liverpool are expected to make a significant offer for Crystal Palace defender Mark A, having moved swiftly to raise funds with the sale of Quansah to Leverkusen. Then there was Chris Bascom again saying there'd be no formal offer yet for Mark A, but it looks like Liverpool are in the best position to do a deal from among the clubs who want to sign him. He will be sold by Palace this summer, as he only has 1 year left on his contract and no prospect of a renewal. Then with Sam Wallace say Liverpool expected to make significant offer for Mark A. Story with Chris Bascom. Paul Joyce on Isak said there's no real pressure on Newcastle to sell for PSO reasons. I think if that was to change for whatever reason, Liverpool would make themselves in the conversations. Now we've got Matt Phelan, who said Newcastle, Spurs and Wolves are amongst other clubs in England and outside England who have made contact with Diogo Jota over a potential summer transfer. So as you can see, lots and lots of moving pieces, and it's been a really busy day to keep up with all this stuff. Right, where else are we? Let's have a look. Has Nunez decided to go? Well, that decision was kind of made for him, to be honest with you. But yes, apparently he's given the green light to a move to Napoli, according to not me, but other people who've posted about it. But again, Napoli have to agree a deal with Liverpool. This one. Trevi, how are we, bro? Hey, Craig, remember when I said big boy club doing big boy things? The Isak signing would put this into a different stratosphere. Much love, brother. It would. It would be incredible. It would. There'll be no more the Reds have got no money but will still win the league thing. And this would be the window of our lifetimes. Let's be honest about it, it would. James Clark said, it's just me, but I don't really want Gordon. The way he celebrated against us when he scored seemed so angry. He's a Liverpool fan, James. No, I'm not saying that should be the reason why you think he's good enough or not, but I don't think you're on your own. When I speak about Anthony Gordon, normally it's quite a mixed review in the chat. But, all I can say is he's a name Liverpool like we've said a lot of the way through. It's been a very productive window for us as well, because at the start of it, I told you the 3 signings we'd make. I told you that I believe Kwanzaa was available to be sold, even though others were saying he wasn't. And all that's coming to fruition. So all I can say to you, mate, is Liverpool do admire Anthony Gordon, and if something happens, just keep an eye on it. Personally, I don't understand wanting 5 centre-backs. 5th choice will only play in low-level cup games if there's an injury, plus we block any potential youth pathway. Well, the 5th centre-back could be a youthful one, so that I absolutely grant you. I think you need 4 senior centre-backs, 4 good quality centre-backs for various reasons, and then a young centre-back. So if Nalo is the 5th, no problem. If that's what Arne Slot wants to do, no problem. But I do think we need to have the ability to turn to a natural centre-back rather than forcing Gravenberch or Endo in there. That's just my view on it. Where are we? Golden Husky. In God we believe, in Allison we trust. Cool. Appreciate you, sir. Stargirl. Some of the most famous people who've done hundreds of shows get very nervous before going on stage. It's a normal feeling, so you're in good company. Yeah, all I can say to you is I just don't want to put myself through it after these 2. That's all I can only be honest with you and say it. The downside of them outweighs the upside. The upside is getting to meet everybody after them. That's always the best part of these shows. Swap deal with Nunez to Osimhen. I just don't think Liverpool want Osimhen. I've said this multiple times over the summer. If we wanted him, it would be a really easy deal to make. Like you've said, he's turned down so far the advances of the Saudi Pro League. So if Liverpool wanted to make that move, I'm sure Victor Osimhen would jump at it. That's why it makes me feel like it's really unlikely. It feels to me, and again, I don't know for a fact, but reading of it, it looks like it's either Isak or Ekitike. That would be my guess at it, and it is a guess. Liverpool just need to sell 2 things to Isak. He'll be supplied all day by Salah and Wirtz. Yep. And again, Isak's probably thinking, right, a couple of things. One, if he goes another year older, he's off Liverpool's radar, because he's right on the edge of what FSG, I think, will be willing to spend that much money on. He's, 25, 26? So he's right on the edge there. So I do get the feeling it is now or never if he's going to leave Newcastle for a club like Liverpool. That's all I can say. Like, I understand people, and I understand Newcastle's perspective. I wouldn't want to sell him. If I was a Newcastle fan, I absolutely wouldn't want to sell him. I'd be fuming. But we know player power is a big thing. Newcastle, for the fact that, yes, they've progressed, are they really going to be able to challenge for the big competitions, the Premier League, the Champions League, in Isak's remaining career? Probably not. I'm not saying Eddie Howe's not taking them in the right direction, but there are levels to go through here, and sometimes you got to go and sell a player to fund more, and that's kind of where they're at the minute. But whether that's Isak or whether that's Gordon or whether that's both, we'll have to wait and see. If Gordon, I'm not going to lie, Gordon comes off snide at times. Again, I'm not saying you're right or wrong, my man. All I can tell you is, like last summer, we're interested, and if things fall into place, it's a deal that we could look at. Again, I'm not saying you have to like him or think he's the best player in the world. I can only tell you what I know to be the case. Harry James said, fully agree, Craig. It's now or never for us to get Isak. Hopefully Newcastle want the money. And also Arsenal know that if he does leave, it'll be for us. That's why they're backing off and looking at other directions as well. Would you take Branthwaite exchange with Doak? 100% yes, Alex. 100% yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love Branthwaite would be my number one target at centre back. And if there was any way to do a deal with Doak, 100% yes for me anyway. What do you think about Zabarini if Konate leaves? Don't know anything about him. Don't know enough about him. Wouldn't be qualified to give you an honest answer, mate. Justin, how are we, dude? So I just want to appreciate and give credit for the effort you've put in to learn the pronunciations of names like Ekitike and Vultmada. Well in, Craig. Thank you, bro. Yeah, part of me almost wishes we sign Ekitike just because of the hardship of my dumb ass trying to learn his name. I'm still on the fence over Kerkez, by the way, because some people say Kerkez, some people are saying that it is Kerkez, but I don't know. We'll figure that out when he comes in. Wirtz is a relatively easy one, though, so that one's all right. But appreciate it, Justin. Thank you. Look, I'm known for butchering pronunciations on the channel, so you might as well be consistent with it. Craig, have you seen the Ekitike interview of him saying he supports United? I've not seen it personally, but I've heard of the support of United, but that doesn't mean anything. You know, who a player supports is one thing, fair enough, but, you know, you've got to look after your career. So, for instance, you wouldn't go work in a worse job just because you wouldn't go work in Tesco because you like Tesco's own brand cornflakes, you know? If Tesco were a supermarket that was struggling. And you look at United now, from a career perspective, if you're Ekitike, where are you going to have a better career right now? With Florian Wirtz in behind you, with Mohamed Salah to the right, with Diaz, Gakpo to the left, with a midfield of McAllister, Wirtz or Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, with Alisson Becker in goal, Virgil van Dijk at centre-back, Frimpong or Bradley at the right side, Kerkez on the left side. You know, straightforward career goals. You're looking at it going, yeah, that's where I'm going to score me a load of goals. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. If he's a United fan, so be it. But, you know, it doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Sure, Carragher was an Everton fan before he started playing for the club. And I think Mac Manman was as well, if I'm not mistaken. Stephen said, Wirtz song to REM's Everybody Hurts. Keep hearing it in my head. I haven't had time to even start listening to songs or anything. It's been balls to the wall for me this week. You can hear my voice, like I have been flat out all week, glued to my phone. Minnie Doyle, how are we? So Craig, love the channel, think you're class, new to the channel and podcast in general, love listening and watching, massive Liverpool fan, and a family of United ones. Appreciate you, welcome in. Look, if you are new and you want to help me out, hit that subscribe button. As you can see, we are 208 subscribers away from getting to 327,000. So if you are new to the channel, please do take a moment, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the stream as well. And if you haven't joined the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp channel, you can scan that QR code or use the link pinned to the top of the chat. We've got about 6,000 people in the WhatsApp group now, and we only started about 10 days ago. Incredible, thank you. Ben said Guehi or Inacio. It's a good question, Ben. It's a good question. I do think the homegrown aspect has to be taken into it. If you're asking me from a purely defensive point of view, I'd probably lean into Inacio, if I'm being honest with you. But taking into account the homegrown quota and what we need, I can absolutely understand the idea of signing Mark Guehi. Yeah, I have no problems with it. He's been a very good defender. He has been. Homegrown as well. So it helps us in that regard. And again, if Kwanzaa's going out, we're losing one. So, yeah, for me, if it's just based off ability, I'd probably prefer Inacio. But I'm more than happy with Mark Guehi coming in because he's better than Kwanzaa. Rushies a Red said, hi Craig, was on Sky Sports today. Everton are trying to extend Branthwaite's contract. As they should, you know. he's going to be a star, and Everton are going to want to try and tie him down. So, I don't think we'll ever get Branthwaite. I think if he leaves, he'll end up maybe at United or somewhere else. But, I'm not going to lie and say I wouldn't take him. I think he's a brilliant young defender. Marv said, Craig Houlden Diamonde, what do you think of him for centre-back? One that's been linked this summer. One that I've always talked about the fact that, interestingly enough, the price quoted for Ousmane Diamonde seems to be about 10 or 15 million less than his release clause. I remember when we were talking about Inacio and Diamonde, when we didn't know who the new manager was going to be, and we were talking about centre-backs, and we were always talking about Inacio, when Diamonde's release clause was higher. But apparently 60 million euro is an asking price that Lisbon would do business at. And a decent shout, like I've said, big physical presence. Would lose him to the AFCON though, if I'm not mistaken. I think he plays for an African nation. I can't remember. Is it Ivory Coast, something like that? Can't remember off the top of my head. Where are we at? Hey Santino, lovely to see you, bro. Said, remember yesterday I said Guehi. I do think we'll get another major striker. I'd love a younger defender. This is an unreal. Any midfielder news? No, the midfielder situation looks like it's going to be staying as it is pretty much, other than Harvey Elliott and Tyler Morton. They're the two I'd expect to move on this summer. And Wirtz coming in, I think we've got enough bodies in there now. So we'd have Endo, Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones, Wirtz, Soboslai, Maka, a 7, and then still the likes of young McConnell and that. So, yeah, I think we're covered in midfield, in all honesty. Now, if you want to be greedy pants, you could talk about the likes of an Angelo Stiller, but you probably need to be moving on an Endo, and Endo doesn't look like he's going to be going anywhere. So, yeah, look, we're probably talking about a summer with 6 major signings, the way things are looking. Right back, left back, centre back, maybe another centre back if Konate leaves, striker, potential wide player, and Wirtz. That, as well as Mamadashvili coming in, and that young goalkeeper Pesci as well. It's a mental window, and the amount of, and by Cecic, yes, sorry, I forgot by Cecic as well. Good shout there. So yeah, that's 8. So I think we're pretty much covered in midfield. Would you rather number 21 or number 7? You know what? I'm going to do the poll for Carl, because he asked me yesterday, and you've asked me as well, my friend, Abdullah. So let's put it to a poll, and we'll see what people think. So bear with me. Right, so I'm going to just give you one option here to pick one scenario. I know people want both, but this is a pick one. Okay, bear with me. Right, so pick one to win next season. League title 21 or European Cup 7. And we'll see. I'm always intrigued by these because I go back and forth between them depending on the context. So this season, it was lovely. When I heard Mo say he wanted league title, that was it. I was on board, league title. But I've always said I would normally come down on the side of the European Cup, because I'm in love with the European Cup. I think it's one of the most beautiful trophies in football, and the Champions League is just a goddamn beautiful thing to win. So yeah, on this one, what would I pick? Do you know what? I'm going to say go back to back and win the league again, because again, that would shut everybody up. That would shut the, it was a COVID league, it was a PGMOL league, it was a bit of luck, it was other clubs not playing well. If we go back to back and move one clear as well of United, I think that would be an incredible statement. But of last season, I do feel like we underperformed in the Champions League. Now, of course, we came up against the eventual winners and lost on penalties to a very good side, but it just feels a bit like we should have gone a bit deeper in that tournament. And yes, we could do both, but we need to know which one people would want, because this is the debate. So yes, absolutely you want both. I want both. But you can't have both in this vote, you greedy beggars. Pick one. Pick one. Right, where are we at? That one, this one. Shane said, has a Newcastle fan, I don't think it will be this year for Isak, but next season, and Gordon maybe this summer. I'm saying back-to-back for Liverpool. So for me, Shane, and again, you know more about Newcastle's business than me, bro, as a fan, but I can say from a Liverpool perspective, I think it's this summer and ever for Isak. Now, of course, that doesn't matter to a Newcastle fan, but from our perspective on this side of it, I think it will be this summer and ever, because I think he gets into the too old category to justify FSG spending the amount of money if it went on another year. Isak, my number one pick for striker, said Matt Schaub. Thought it was just a pipe dream, but then you said it would not go away and has grown every day with rumours. Yeah, I thought as well this was another one of those, bits of bait put out there basically to let us dream, but I've tried to ignore it, Matt. I've continuously tried to ignore it, but as you said, every day something new comes and the stories seem to become a little bit more credible with who's saying them. So yeah, I'm in agreement. And who's seen the Mighty Red thing, by the way? Did you see the Mighty Red post? I mentioned it earlier on. So I did a little bit of a rant the other day about Mighty Red, all tongue-in-cheek stuff, talking about him not having enough attitude as a mascot, comparing him to Broccoli. I called him the Broccoli of mascots. And then today, Mighty Red posted, do you know what? I'll put the post up on screen for you, just in case you haven't seen it. And I got to say, Mighty Red, fair play. Let me bring this up on screen for you. So as you can see, Mighty Red posted him with a broccoli head with a little picture of broccoli. And I've got to say, Mighty Red, well played, sir. Well played. Maybe I judged you wrong. Maybe you do have the attitude needed. You're winning me round, Mighty Red. Is this the start of a beautiful little bromance? Who knows? But I like that attitude. Maybe I've misjudged you, sir. So keep going. You're going in the right direction. All we need now is a few gestures to the opposition fans and, a bit more attitude, Mighty Red, and we got you. You've won me over, mate. We're on the way. And well played. That's the closest we've ever had, by the way, as a channel to any acknowledgement from anything to do with the football club. And who would have thought it would have been me and Mighty Red having a little bit of beef? Connor sent me it and I thought he was winding me up. I thought he was like, nah, it's not real. He's just sending me that and he goes, I swear to God this is real. That wasn't on my bingo card for the day. Mohammed, how are we, bro? Said, I heard Nico Williams rejected Bayern and they might go for Gakpo as an alternative. Thoughts on this? Well, you're absolutely right with the thought process. He has been mentioned as a name that they're looking at. Rafa Leao has also been mentioned as a name Bayern are looking at. As you've mentioned, Nico Williams looks like he's headed to Barcelona. So, that would rule Bayern out of that race. But what I don't know, and what I can't give you an answer to is there any world that Liverpool would be receptive to an offer for Cody Gakpo? I really don't know the answer to that one. I'd hope not. I like Cody Gakpo personally, but there have been mixed reports on it, Mohammed. Some saying he'd be open to the idea, some saying he wouldn't, but I don't know, mate, personally. What the fuck is this? I don't like to see you banging on about your team signing players and doing well. The team I support, Man United, are not making signings. Mate, come on now, Roy, my friend. One thing that United fans can't moan about, Roy, is not being backed spending money on transfers. United managers have had a lot of money to spend on transfers. The board have just pissed it up against the wall. Also, yes, the Glazers and the way they run the club. Sympathy for you on that one. But, we're just going big once. And after 2 windows of not spending. So it warms my heart a little bit though, Roy, to see that it's hurting opposition fans. With all due respect to you, my friend. But it's about bloody time that we start seeing this from a Liverpool perspective. And also, again, do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. 21 gets us past United, said Jaden Walker. It does. It does, but 7. Mate, 7, 7. So, right. Wow. I thought this was going to be close, but so far, it's a whooping. So do vote. You've got to pick one this season. League title 21 of European Cup number 7. Right, so let's get back into the transfer world for a minute. Do we think Diogo Jota gets sold, folks? What is your take on it? I've always said to you, again from the start of this window, for me, I would have no issues in keeping Diaz. I never seen the want or desire to move him on. So for me, the two I've always told you from the attack I'd sell were Diogo Jota and Darwin Nunez. Now Chiesa was always going to come down to what he wants to do with it being a World Cup year next year. So for me, I'd be very happy if we sold both of our forwards, in all honesty. I would. I wouldn't be against it one bit. Especially, if it clears the pathway in the future for the likes of a Jarell Kwanzaa. Now, like I've said, I still think we need to bring in another forward of some ilk if Diogo moves on. Whether that's wide or not, I don't know. But I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because neither of them really did much last season. Diogo, we know what he's capable of, but he just looked like he'd almost aged overnight or something. He just didn't seem himself last season. And think about it from his perspective as well. So he's getting on now in his career. Obviously, he's coming into the peak part of his career, and he's about to become a backup because we're going to bring in a striker this summer, whether that's Ekitike, whether that's Isak or whomever. So we know someone's coming in ahead of him. He knows Wirtz is there as well. You look at it from his perspective, he may again want to just move to get game time. And in a World Cup year for Portugal, he's going to want minutes as well. Cal said, Mosquera from Valencia, I think, is a centre-back option. Again, I don't know anything about him, but I'm sure Georgie Mamardashvili would be able to give Liverpool the rundown. League title 21 would be to memorial mention when I leave this earth. It would be just incredible, mate, overall, to just win another league title back to back. Back to back would be amazing, wouldn't it? It'd just be amazing. Craig, I love we're having a big summer in the transfer market, but do you think there's a tipping point where we make too many changes to the first 15 and it start to hurt us? Said Lawrence. So I have thought about this a little bit, Lawrence, yeah. And the way I look at it is the spine of the squad's still going to be the same. So I don't think it'll be too much change. So what do I mean by that? Alisson's going to be here. Virgil's going to be here. The midfield is going to be there. Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and all the other names we've mentioned. Mohamed Salah signed on. He's staying. So we do have a great continuity in the team. Yes, right back is going to be a change because it's an enforced change. Left back was a position that we all knew we needed to upgrade. Now, I'd like to keep one of the two boys who are playing left back at the minute, whether it is Robbo, whether it is Costas. I think we should keep whichever one of them we don't sell and have them as the backup. So I don't see the realms of really too much change yet. But again, I'm going to come back to the tipping point of Konate being the difference maker here. If Konate stays, I think we all feel a lot more relaxed. You bring in Mark Guehi and you're thinking, right, that's an upgrade. If Konate goes, then it's twitchy bum time a little bit. Because even if we like the name that we bring in, we don't know how quickly he'll adjust and forge that good relationship with Virgil. So, yeah, I've always been honest and said that's the area of the pitch I've been most concerned about this summer. But if we sign Guehi and if Konate signs a new deal, I definitely feel like we've upgraded at the back by Kwanzaa going out, Mark Guehi coming in. I don't think that's up for debate. And then it'll come down to what happens with Joe Gomez. Because again, that's versatility that's walking out the door. And that'll be tough to replace. Where are we? Where was I? Okay, this one. Golden Husky, and thank you, my friend, said, hey Craig, given one of our main targets to win is the Champions League next season, do you think players like Gordon, Ekitike, Guehi are good enough to help us win? So I've always said I don't know enough about Ekitike to tell you whether he's good enough or not. Gordon would absolutely be a good option to give us a little bit of pace, if nothing else, there if we need to change it up. And who was the other one you mentioned? Guehi, again, he wouldn't be coming in my mind, to be the starting centre-back. If Konate stays, it would be Konate and Virgil. Again, I think it's important that we look at the Mark Guehi signing as being a replacement for Kwanzaa and not a potential partner for Virgil. At least that's the way I'm looking at the minute. Keith said, do you think we'll hear a bit about Isak next week? Oh, tough to say. Tough to say, because I can't see Newcastle just rolling over. But if they do get in a centre forward, and Joe Pedro's a name they've been linked with, tough to say. It'll come down to a conversation between Isak and Newcastle. If he sits down with the Newcastle hierarchy and says, flat out, he wants to move to Liverpool, please make it happen this summer, I've no intention of signing a new deal, I'd like to kick on my career, then it'll come down to whether Newcastle and Liverpool can agree a deal. But I don't know what to expect. It's just a crazy window. Like, we're dealing with stuff we've not been used to seeing us at this level. And when we hear something, I get the feeling it will drag on, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be expecting this to be done quickly. I think Newcastle will at least have to be seen to fight and drag this out. So I would think that would be one of the latter deals of the window, I'd a guess. Newcastle get Pedro and we get Isak. Jota goes Newcastle. Yeah, that could be interesting. Like, Newcastle have in the past, and I don't know if the interest is still there, had an interest in Diogo Jota. So absolutely, that could be possible. Do you think Frimpong starts over Bradley? Depends how pre-season goes, is probably the honest answer. Yeah, it depends how pre-season goes, because we don't yet really know where we're going to see Frimpong utilised. So I think Arna will probably try a few different things in pre-season. And then it'll come down to maybe who we're playing as well, how attack-minded we want to be, how we set up formation-wise, if we tweak it a little bit. It's a lot of uncertainty there, but I tell you what, they're two good options, and that's one thing I'm happy about as a fan. Do I think Collins is good enough for us? Yes, I do. I really do. And look, is some of that Irish bias? Maybe. But again, look back through his career so far. Captain of Stoke at 18 years of age. Came through a damn good football club in Ireland here in Cherry Orchard as well. Comes from a good steady footballing family. Has the aerial attributes. Is bulletproof and played every single game last season. Is 24. Has already had a move to a club in the Premier League for a significant fee, where he's shown to be a leader as well. I just think it's a steady signing. I do. I'm very happy about it if that comes to fruition. And he's a centre-back that will be homegrown. So I get it. But for me, it would be a good signing. Mightn't be the sexiest signing in the world, but it would be a signing that I think Liverpool fans will be won over by over time. Adam said, I think we should go for... Pardon. No, I don't want unnamed male 29 from Barnet anywhere near our football club. And the fact that he even played for Arsenal should be a fucking disgrace to Arsenal. But, again, I'll say things that journalists think but won't say out loud. I don't want him near our football club. And I actually, I'm astonished that Arsenal fans didn't speak up a bit more about that situation. I got to be careful what I say, obviously. Mohammed said, is Wirtz a possible long-term replacement for Salah? Creativity and goals as he's getting older. Is the recruitment team thinking long-term? Yeah, of course. Of course they'll be thinking long-term. And I can't tell you if he's a replacement for Salah. I'd probably edge to no, because he operates usually, if he is operating from a wide position, more from the left-hand side. But young Rio is another one for the future there as well. Jayden Dan's one there for the future. Lewis Kumas one for the future. Nala one for the future. McConnell one for the future. Neoni one for the future. that young goalkeeper one for the future. So yes, the team are definitely looking to the future as well, which is why the balance has been very good of the recruitment. Top young players who have great possibilities to break through. And I haven't even mentioned Ben Doak there, by the way, who could bring the club in another 30 million quid. Why not just win both? Because the question is, which one would you prefer, Lisa? It was a kind of a debate between us in the chat. Some people would like 21, some people like Champions League. So for a bit of fun, we just said pick one, just to be, decisive and give people one choice. Right, over 2,000 votes and 69% of you guys said you would prefer league title number 21. So it has been decided, ladies and gentlemen. The preference is league title number 21. I appreciate you all for voting. Thank you. Of course we want both. We want both, definitely want both, but appreciate you playing along with us. We're missing out on a lot of South American juniors, Real and Chelsea hoovering up the next potential stars. Well, that's why I think that if FSG buy Getafe, that could be very good for us in the longer term, because it will give a pathway through to Europe for some potential signings from South America. In their first move to Europe, let's say, being to a Spanish club, would certainly help them, you would imagine, ease into European life, similar language. So you would certainly think it would be a good thing in that regard and give us an option. As well, now, English clubs can't sign anybody under 18 since they've left Europe, so that's another thing to think about there. So that's why I think the Getafe stuff is so interesting. If they buy Getafe, then that gives Liverpool, I don't want to say a feeder club because that's disrespectful to Getafe, but it gives us a good, attractive proposition in a good quality league to bring over young talent and see how they get on. How likely is the Malik Fofana deal, said Boyo. It's a good question. There's definitely interest there, not just from us, Chelsea as well, although I think their main target is Jamie Gittins. Again, I can't tell you whether we pursue it or not, but we know Malik Fofana loves Liverpool. As agent said before, that would be the dream move. About 50 million euro, I'd seen, was a potential number that Leon would do business at. After that, mate, I don't know how definitive our interest is or isn't, but there is certainly some links there. Asantino said, if Newcastle asked for a player to be included for Isak, who would you choose and who do you think they might pick? Jota. I think Jota is the answer to both of them. Yeah, Jota. Elliott would be another one. I don't know if Eddie Howe still has an interest in Harvey Elliott, but there was a story the other day that said Aston Villa were the club leading the race for Harvey Elliott's signature. Wolves have been another club mentioned. But yeah, Jota would seem like the good fit. Yeah, I think they'd love Jota up there in Newcastle. And again, I can see him in a Newcastle shirt. I don't know about other people, but for me, that always plays a part in these things. Can I envision that person in that club shirt? And I can see Jota in a Newcastle shirt. Is there any chance Elliott stays? There's always a chance, but if we look at it through his eyes, he's coming to a point now where he didn't get enough game time last season for whatever reasons, injury, not convincing the manager, whatever it was. And now he's just seen Florian Wirtz come into the club, who plays the role that he would have been thought to have played, which is the one to find space between the lines, to take up those positions, to make stuff tick. So he's moved down the pecking order, and I dare say gone behind Curtis Jones as well. So from his perspective, you get one career. And I'm sure this will be an incredibly difficult decision for Harvey Elliott, because we know how much he loves the football club. And all of our fans love Harvey Elliott as well. So it's certainly not everybody wanting Elliott to go. But, if you look at it from his perspective, it must be horrible not playing. You're a professional footballer. You want to play. So, I think it would be a brave decision by Harvey, but ultimately for his career, probably the right decision. So I do think he goes this summer. Did Inter Miami beat Porto? Oh, lads. Oh, European clubs. Real Madrid embarrassing the whole of Europe, by the way. How did they not win that game? Honestly. Real Madrid. That game should have been a landslide. But again, it's what happens when you don't put us in the tournament, lads. I really do believe that Weldy Lucky, about to sign the new deal, that we might only sign one centre back. Emerson, I'll be the very first one to say to you, mate, I'm not the guy for keeping an eye on young talent at Liverpool. I just don't have the time, so I'll take your word for it. And yeah, as I've said, I've no problem with one of the centre backs, let's say the fifth choice one, being a young centre back. And if Liverpool view him to be good enough, absolutely, let's get behind the young man. Right, Chloe. Thank you. Appreciate you, Chloe. Jaden Walker said, in a world, dynasty is what Liverpool will become. Yes, and it's what we should become. That's what we want. An era, not sporadic success. And again, if the plan is that FSG have looked around and thought now's the time to act, that's good judgment, because I think City are questionable in their rebuild. They've made 10 signings, I think, for about 300 million. And not one of them strikes the fear of God into me. Not one. Reinders, good piece of business. Cherky will be overhyped for as good as people think he is, and I'll die on that hill. And the rest of the business hasn't impressed me at all. So, with the fact that Rodri will absolutely take a while to get back to himself, I think now is the opportunity for Liverpool to kick on. And of course, we don't know about the charges as well. Arsenal, look, they're always going to be the bridesmaids, aren't they? Until they sack Arteta, who is, in my opinion, too negative. Right, 182, subscribers to go. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, folks, please do. Right, let's keep going. So much news today. Would you rather go back-to-back or the Cup treble? Cup treble, definitely. Back-to-back would be great, but Champions League and the two domestic cups, that'll be a pretty goddamn impressive season. So yeah, I'll take that one, thank you. As long as if we win the Champions League, we're back in it anyway. So yeah, I was going to say, obviously caveat, we're back in the Champions League, but yeah. I think Kluivert will be a good number 9. I don't think he's good enough to play for Liverpool. Look at his career, it's building. He's had some success at Bournemouth. Wasn't really great at Roma before that. I think he's happy where he is. I think he's at a good club now as well. And maybe kick on another year there and get a move away. And he's working with a really good manager in Dona Iriola as well. He's a really good coach. Rather have back-to-back Prem than a treble of a Champions League and 2 domestic cups. Oh, dude, come on. Back-to-back would be amazing and all, but a treble? A treble of the Champions League and the 2 domestic cups? That would be delicious. How hot was it in Ireland today? I think it got up to about 27, 26, 27, something like that. I was stuck inside working all day, so I didn't see it. I've been just working my ass off until the weekend, where I'm spending the weekend obviously showing Brian around some parts of Ireland, so very much looking forward to that. You won't see me Saturday or Sunday. You may get a very late video one of the nights, but yeah, I'll be off all weekend, so I'm trying to work and get everything done now. It wouldn't be a proper treble. Never said it would, but it's a Champions League and 2 more trophies, and it kicks us on even more so as the most successful club in English football history. So that would be 3 more trophies away from United. I'd take the Champions League and 2 domestic cups over the league next season personally, but I'm not going to shout at anybody else if they think differently. Absolutely. It's all about opinions. Itachi said, I'm almost looking forward to Wirtz and Isak. I still can't quite bring myself to let myself dream about the Isak situation just yet. I'll need it to become a little bit more concrete. What's this one? Oh yeah, we've done that one. Cool. Prem and Champions League double. That would be nipples out, broccoli eating. That would be God. You want to opposition fans who just want to hide. If we won the Prem and the Champions League double, I'd be unbearable. I'd probably have to block myself, honestly. Anybody who knows me that doesn't support Liverpool, that I have their phone number, would want to block me at that point, because all they'd be getting is me just bantering them non-stop. I'd dedicate the next year to just making them all suffer. All of my friends, all of them, one after another, just post after post after post of my smug face looking down the camera, winking at them for a year, non-stop. So yeah, let's hope it happens. Oh, can you imagine that though? Oh, imagine. Imagine. Champions League and a Premier League in one season. Do you know what? I'm going to say something very weird now, but in a way, you'd almost know you've peaked then as a fan. You know, if you won the Prem and you won the Champions League in the 1 year, you've probably peaked. Does it get any better than that? Like, realistically? I don't know. It's like I had 30 years waiting for the league title. Yeah, no, of course he'd want to. Fuck it, of course he'd want to. Man City fined £1 million for persistent late kickoffs. I'd seen that. Yeah, loads of little individual fines there for them. Screw the treble, we want all four, said Ryan. I don't think that'll ever be done. I honestly don't think anyone's ever going to go win the quadruple. Howdy, Craigo. I bought a Topps Isak autograph card yesterday to put some good juju out there. Well played, T-Fang. Well played. Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine if it happened? Oh, and Topps, that brings me back as well. Craig, Liverpool haven't won back-to-back titles since 24. Look, I'm not saying I wouldn't like back-to-back, mate. It'd be incredible. But, you know, the question was just about a treble of trophies. And, you know, 3 trophies better than 1 trophy, in my opinion. What else we got? What's the end of the Madrid game yesterday? And they brought in a new rule in that if goalkeepers time waste, the other team get a corner out of it. Me and my dad said that's quite a good rule. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Something needs to be done about the Emi Martinez's and Jordan Pickfords of this world and their time wasting as a keeper. So a corner seems a better suggestion than an indirect free kick anyway. Where are we? This one. Cal said, my reason for always choosing the Prem is another European team is likely to take the Champions League, meaning rivals in the country are still weaker than us. Yeah, I totally get that. And there's no argument back for me when people say the league's the bread and butter as well. Absolutely common sense. But, you know, we won the league this year. And if we won all 3 next year, then Arna would have completed the set in 2 years. So there's that side of it as well. As will all of the players who came in. You know, they would have completed the set as well. Did you see the Man City fine? I did text him Bulldog, but that was just for late kickoff. It was nothing to do with the 115 charges, I don't believe. What would be your opinion on Konza from Villa? That he's shite. That would be my opinion on Konza from Villa. Yeah, don't rate him at all. You think he'd be even better with Wirtz by his side? Just not my cup of tea. Whenever I look at Villa's centre-backs, any of them, no, don't think they're good enough. But again, no disrespect intended to Konza as a human being. Don't know the man, but I wouldn't be happy if we were signing him. Thoughts on getting in deep line playmaker? I don't know if we need a deep line player or not. I think it'll come down to Bajcetic and what the manager wants to do there. So, look, I'm easy, mate. I'm easy. I'm still walking on cloud 9 at the minute with what's happening at the club the way we are now. This one. Tony said, would love Isak, but too injury prone and too much money. Young Robbie Fowler for me. Look, again, if the money side of it, I really don't mind too much, Tony, to be honest with you, because the club will know if they can afford the numbers or not. So I'm not going to moan if we have to spend X amount of money for a player, because Isak would be an incredible addition to the team, and I think would make us favourites for every competition next year. And I don't say that lightly. Honestly, even with PSG and what they've done this year again, if we sign Wirtz, Isak, and a good quality centre back with the fullbacks and all we've brought in, I would say we're favourites next year in every competition we're in. Is Florian in Liverpool? Yes. Yes, 100%, Dylan, he is. The plane landed in Manchester like 4:42, something like that earlier on. Gururu Warara said, confirmed Wirtz, Frimpong, Kerkez wanted Isak, Guehi, Gordon. This is shaping up to be an insane window. Much love, Craig, and much love to you as well, my friend. Yeah, it's the type of window that if I said to you last summer, you're going to get this next summer, you'd have all unsubscribed and I couldn't have even complained about it, because it just seems so off the wall, doesn't it? It just seems so unlike what we're used to. Has Wirtz completed the first part of his medical? That I don't know at this moment. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the medical is going to be tomorrow, but there was some talk that some parts of it would be done this evening. So, I'm sure we'll see stuff over the next hour or so start to come out. But as I sit here right now, I don't know. Have you checked X for the Guehi news? A pinch of salt must be taken. So, again, I don't know what you mean specifically by X. We've seen some stuff from the journalists that we've spoken about. So we had, what are we talking about, Mark Guehi? Is this one? We had Sam Wallace and Chris Bascombe from the Telegraph talking about Liverpool going to make an offer for Guehi. We had Chris Bascombe saying, as I mentioned, Liverpool make a significant offer. Then we had Ben Jacobs saying that they're finalising a package just north of €40 million for Kwanzaa. Verbal agreement not done, but heading in that direction. So yeah, there's been bits and pieces started to come out about Mark Guehi, but unless something else has happened maybe that you're talking about, I'm not sure. Lorcan, no need to really worry about a recap, bro. I'll be putting out a video recapping everything and giving you some new news about 10 to 11, mate. So bear with me on that one. In terms of the personal terms agreed, I wouldn't have a clue, mate, whether that's true or not. I can't imagine in personal terms there'll be a problem with Mark Guehi, because he's coming from Crystal Palace, so he's not exactly coming from a club where he'd have been on 400 grand a week. Cal said UCL is fucking special though. Oh mate, it's gorgeous. It's that music, winning the Champions League, it's incredibly special. And again, remember we had one trophy this year with Arna. So next year if we won the European Cup, what a 2 years that would be. What's the chances of Guehi coming to Liverpool? How good is he? So I think the chances now are very, very high. How good is he? I think of it like this. Is he better than Jarell Kwanzaa? And to me, the answer to that is yes. I don't believe he's been brought in case Konate departs. I very much view this as Kwanzaa out, him in. And in that sense, it's an upgrade. But how long is it happening? Or how likely is it to happen? It's feeling pretty likely, because Liverpool won't let Kwanzaa go unless they believe they have a move and a deal in place. So if you see Kwanzaa going and that's getting completed, I think you can take that as an even bigger indication that Liverpool have extreme confidence around the Mark Guehi situation. We know Palace will have to sell this summer because he won't sign the new deal. That's been reported far and wide. He's got 1 year to go in his contract, so they're going to have to cash in. Bayern in discussions with Leao. See, I did say that to you, Hayden, that Nico Williams, when he said Barcelona, Rafa Leao and Cody Gakpo were two names that were being mentioned there with Bayern. I would rather the Champions League next season personally. I think we have unfinished business in that competition, said Joseph. Yeah, it's the one competition last season that I felt like we underachieved in. The Cup, you're always running a risk when you play a young team. Premier League, obviously, we did ourselves proud in. Carabao Cup, lost in the final to Newcastle. So I think that one, we lost to the eventual winners on penalties. And, they were deserving winners over the competition. Like, really good side. Prediction, Lucho to Bayern, said Trey. I honestly haven't got a clue what to think about Lucho's situation anymore. You know, Barcelona are now trying to make noises that they were getting the cold shoulder from Diaz, or they were getting mixed signals from. I haven't got a clue what's going on with it. But whatever happens, I'm relaxed about it, because if Diaz stays, brilliant. We like Lucho. If he moves on, then the club will have a replacement lined up. Did I see Trent's debut? No, I didn't watch it, Larkin, because he's dead to me. I don't give a shit about what he does anymore. And I despise Real Madrid anyway. So the only thing I'd seen from that game, mate, was the missed penalty from Valverde, which was a shocking penalty. Do you think the Guehi news is a tactic to put pressure on Konate? No, not at all. I think it's a very straightforward 1 in, 1 out. So yeah, I don't think it's anything other than Leverkusen getting to a price Liverpool are happy with for Kwanzaa, and then Liverpool looking at Mark Guehi as a replacement. I think it's a really clever piece of business if it comes off. What number do you think Wirtz and Kerkez take? I'm going to guess Frimpong takes 30, Wirtz takes 27, and Kerkez, don't know. Actually, really don't know. Unless something happens where we lose, let's say, Diaz, then 7 becomes available. I'd love Wirtz to take that. But I know what number will become available for a certain Swedish centre-forward if he wants to come in. That glorious number 9, which Darwin will be departing. So, you know, that's another big incentive there for Isak. You will literally get the number 9 coming to Liverpool. That is, in itself, a nice little bonus for that. How do I pronounce this one? Cat Piz Chris. Thank you for joining Anfield Agenda FC, my man. Appreciate you. And right, again, if you weren't in our WhatsApp channel, you're missing some of my shit humour and some of the transfer updates. So if you want to join it, scan that QR code or use the link pinned to the top of the chat. It's completely free, obviously, and open to everybody. Kieran, 23rd birthday today, currently stuck in work. What a day. Wirtz Friday for the birthday. Well, firstly, happy birthday. Sorry about you being stuck in work, mate, but you know, needs must and all that, or Kieran. I hope you're well. 4 printing said Mark Guehi has a good injury record, only 1 injury, 4 months. Cool. I must admit I hadn't looked into his injury record yet, but Nathan Collins played every single league game last year, and that's impressive as well. Frimpong or Bradley for first choice right back. I think that'll be figured out in pre-season, Luke. And yeah, I think it also may depend on the opposition and the way the manager wants to play. So yeah, don't know is the honest answer, but I think we'll get them to duke it out in pre-season and see who performs best. Nathan said, I'm just grateful to you all for this is and has always been a beautiful community. Thank you, Nathan. Very kind of you to say. I think they're a great community of people as well, and they've always had my back, so I've got nothing but love and respect for them. What 11 if Isak comes? The amount of people who misspell my name with a G at the start, by the way, always makes me chuckle. It's C or AIG, but ultimately your question, what 11? So let's say first day of the season, I'd probably edge to Bradley. So let's say Alisson, Bradley, Konate, Virgil, Kerkez, Grafenberg, Maka, Wirtz, Salah, Isak, Diaz. That would be my guess. But, you know, best laid plans and all that. It's my it's the 21st tomorrow. Where was that one? Ryan. So Craig, my 21st birthday was Monday, and my lad is getting me next year's Wirtz shirt. Next year's shirt? What player should I get? I'd say Maka. Like, you know what? I'm an Alexis McAllister fan, so I'd say get Maka 10. But Wirtz is also an intriguing one, or Isak if we sign him. So yeah, I'd say hang off and wait and see how the window goes before putting a number on it. Oh, Grav suspended, yes. I keep forgetting that he's suspended for a game. Sorry, folks. You're right. I keep forgetting that. So maybe we go with Maka in the deeper lying role, and then we have Szoboszlai and Wirtz. Sorry, I keep forgetting that he picked up that red card. I think it's only one game, by the way, that he's out for, not 3, because it wasn't violent conduct. So I think it is just one game. But yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting about that. Craig, can't see Guehi sitting on the bench in the World Cup year. Again, though, I don't think it would be a case of him on the bench. We're going to have injuries. We're going to need to rotate players. We're going to be playing mostly 2 games a week. So whatever happens, I can see a world where he gets 35, 40 games anyway, between all the competitions. So, yeah, it's up to him, though. You know, if you're coming into a club like Liverpool, you're going to have to fight for your place. Dominic Szoboszlai come out with fighting words around Wirtz coming in. Brilliant. We love to hear that. And I would expect Mark Guehi to back himself if he came to Liverpool to put himself into the starting 11. So, yeah, you know, you don't come to a club like Liverpool unless you have balls, unless you have something about you and the belief in what you're doing. Homegrown challenges, thoughts? Well, we're starting to clear that up a bit. So, like we mentioned, Mark Guehi or Nathan Collins, both homegrown. Frimpong, homegrown. If we brought in Anthony Gordon, homegrown. So I think we are looking at that and addressing it as we go along. Who's our number 2 goalie now? Georgi Mamardashvili. Alisson's number 1. Georgi Mamardashvili's number 2. Pechi will be with the 21s. Yaros gone out on loan. And I think Harvey Davies, is that his name? The other young goalkeeper. He's taken up a loan somewhere, I think, as well for the season, I've seen today. Am I the only one who doesn't rate Guehi at all? Well, look, whatever we think, Hamish, you know, I think whatever I say or you say, I think respectfully, the people at the club, the coaches and the recruitment team probably have a better grasp of this than us, mate. So I'm happy to just go with the recruitment team. And also, I look at it and think, is he better than Jarell Quansah? And to me, the answer is absolutely yes. Right, who's this from? So who's that from, though? Oh, Plettenberg, thank you. So Footies HD and Purple Star, thank you both. Said, understand Florian Wirtz has successfully completed part 1 of his medical. Part 2 will follow tomorrow morning. After that, he'll sign the contract till 2030. Boom. We love that one. And thank you, gents, for putting that into the chat for me. Appreciate you. What's this one? Who the fuck is this? I don't know who this is. So whoever this lad is, Krish, said exclusive Mark Guehi, Liverpool have reached agreement. I don't know who he is, so certainly not going to be hanging my hat on some fella I've never heard of on Twitter. Yep, so Wirtz has done part 1 of his medical. That's been confirmed. Just getting that in there now. So yeah, that is absolutely confirmed, as you've said. Krish is reliable. Krish is trusted. Cool. I just don't know who he is. So yeah, cool. If you guys think he's trustworthy, then let me read it out to you. As I said, I just don't know who the gentleman is. So again, not meaning to be disparaging or anybody. I just don't know who the person is. But anyway, let me read it out to you. So Krish has written exclusive, i.e. Mark Guehi, or excuse me, around Mark Guehi. Liverpool FC have reached a verbal agreement with Mark Guehi and his camp over personal terms. Sources close to the deal suggest Liverpool have reached an agreement with Guehi and his agents over personal terms on a 5-year contract. Liverpool will now begin official negotiations with Crystal Palace regarding the deal very soon. Crystal Palace want to sign his replacement before negotiating any deal. Ousmane Diomande is close. Sources suggest that Crystal Palace might want a package worth £50 million, with a minimum £35 million upfront plus £15 million in instalments, making sure everything is fixed, while Liverpool are planning to offer around £40 million. Negotiations will be important days ahead for the potential centre-back deal. Negotiations will only start with Palace after they sign a new centre-back. Liverpool to push for the deal in the next few days. Funds ready after the sale of Quansah. There we go. So certainly look like it's trending in the direction of at least getting to the offer stage there from Liverpool. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go and prepare for the late video. Tomorrow is going to be Florian Wirtz Friday, so Again, make sure you're here with us. If you want the latest, get into the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp channel. Again, the link's pinned to the top of the chat. And keep your eye out for the news video, which will be out in about, well, less than half an hour anyway. So, you absolute legends, thank you so much again for coming in and joining me tonight. Do drop a like before you head off. And if you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. I will see you tomorrow. You guys are awesome. Thank you for a fun evening. We'll talk again.